Today we complete our series on forestation, with this last segment being caring for the forest after it's been recently planted. Again, we have Craig Lynch, who will be joining us as our guest speaker, who will be covering that material. What I hope you guys get from some of this is just the oversight that is necessary to ensure the health of this forest as it grows to its adulthood. And each stage in a forest is beautiful. And I hope that we were able to capture some of that, whether it be in video or in discussions. I hope you enjoy.
All right, we've had a previous discussion here in the other two segments about logging, reforesting. Now we're going to get in the long-term portion. You, most people that raise forests are only into this cycle for a couple times in their lifetime, but anyway, the first thing you need to think about are the seasons of the forest because you've got your various seasons. You plant in the spring. There's all kinds of challenges now. You've planted your new trees, they're starting to take root. Now nature comes into play. Are you going to have excessive rainfall or not enough? Or is your first couple of winters going to be excessively cold? Because it varies from year to year. You need to watch all these things. Sometimes you'll need to go back in and add a few more seedlings if you have bad conditions. Something you watch at. Make sure your undesirable vegetation isn't choking your planting. Generally, the first 2 years are your critical years. Then you have it established. Then you have other issues to deal with. One of them being wildlife. You've created wildlife habitat by creating a clear cut. You have elk are a classic example. This particular area, 40 years ago, there weren't any elk. Now there are big herds of elk because you created the habitat that they moved into that they're used to. And it's an ongoing process, as I explained earlier. So you're going to have wildlife damage. They will step on them, they will browse them, they will rub on them, they will knock them down. There's all kinds of damage. Another wildlife damage, porcupines, classic on smaller trees. Climb them, they eat the bark, they girdle them, they're gone. Deer cause a certain amount of damage, not as great. Actually, porcupine and bear for stripping the bark off of trees are the worst, and elk are probably by far the biggest problem. But you work with it, you subsist with it, and you monitor it, and you can bring a forest to fruition by doing that. So if you're fortunate and all these things work, then you're going to get how long it takes trees to mature. So we're going to go through several points here real quick, but I want to get them in. Okay, at about 8 years, in that neighborhood, 9, you're going to look at that stand and you're going to go, if you had a wonderful survival rate, chances are it's too crowded. So you go in and you do what is known as pre-commercial thinning. You go in and you actually physically look at the trees then. Are there some that have defects, this, that? Those are just cut and left for fodder on the forest floor. Then at about you take a look at it again, if that works out, at about 25 years of age to 28, and you can go in and do what you call a commercial thinning. You go in and you carefully take select trees out and get your spacing out so that you're going to get maximum growth out of the trees that are there. Then at 40 to 50 years, you're probably going to have a stand just like you cut originally, and you harvest it, and then the cycle starts over. By continuing this cycle, that's why it's called sustainable, and by continuing it, you're helping the creation of oxygen and everything else because you have new trees coming in all the time. That forest breathes with you. It's working for you. And if you don't do it that way, then it's not. If you do this all in stages, and we have classic examples all over Washington now, two companies, big companies, Simpson Lumber and Weyerhaeuser, started this back in the 1930s. Because before that, it was cut and nature replanted it. But anyway, I do believe I'm going to leave it at that. Wish I could answer any questions for you, but if you ever have any, you can get them directed back to me, and I hope it was enlightening for you. Thank you very much.